today we are working with ham hocks. A couple important things that I want you to keep in mind when doing this. When you see me cut the vegetables and put them in with the stock, know that whenever I do this, I usually use leftover vegetables. I don't go to the store and buy vegetables just for this because the liquid's going to absorb all the flavor and you're going to end up throwing the vegetables away. So keep that in mind. There's lots of times where I don't use any vegetables in the stock at all. The important things to know is just get the ham hocks tender and make a good sauce for them. If you keep that in mind, this is a real simple thing to make. I make this all the time, actually. It's really good. You don't have to use ham hocks for this, though. I like it because of the gelatinous texture that the skin provides at the end. It goes really well with this. But you can use anything from country ribs, pork shoulder, which actually is country ribs cut into strips. You can use baby back ribs, pretty much any type of meat that you're going to let cook for a long period of time and break down. I wouldn't use beef with this sauce. But I would stick with pork for this. One more thing, Redmond wanted to send me another knife to try out for them. So Redmond is the product sponsor for this video. So this is the knife that I'm going to be using for the video. If you want this, there will be a link in the description below where you can get a discount if you decide to purchase one of these. So anyway, with that said, let's get started here. We start with leftover produce. And when I say leftover, they still have to be raw. We have a leek. Cut off the ends as we are using the thick part for this. Split it in half lengthwise so that you have access to the inside of all the layers. These can have a lot of dirt inside them, so by splitting them in half this way, it makes it very easy to wash, as you see here. Just hack them up any which way you like and toss them into whatever vessel you will be cooking it in. I had an apple laying around, and since apple goes very well with pork, I just cut it into quarters and tossed it in. Next, we have some baby carrots. Regular carrots are fine too, of course. If they were thick carrots, you could take the time to cut them up, but these are small, so we might as well just dump them in since we don't need to be precise at all about the stock procedure. Next, we have Thai chilies. These are wicked hot and will deeply penetrate the meat and the stock with a good level of heat. Be cautious when using these for the first time. I added enough here to set your face on fire, but that's how I like it. Leave them out for sure if you are a wimp to spicy foods. We have some nice looking pork hocks. I try to get them as whole as I can. They often sell them split in different ways. These ones are as whole as I could get them. You want them as large as possible to have decent chunks of meat at the end. So buy them as big as you can for this. Into the pan they go. I almost forgot about garlic. You don't have to be fussy and peel them at all. Just take a bunch of the cloves and give them a quick smash. You don't even have to do this. You could just throw the cloves in whole. Peel and all is fine. This can handle a lot of garlic, so be generous with the garlic, please. Then we add unsalted chicken stock until it just covers the meat completely. I didn't have enough stock here, so I topped it off with some water. It will be fine. You just want to make sure that the meat is completely submerged. Adding a foil lid, or regular lid depending on your cooking vessel, it will go into a 350 oven for 3 hours until the meat is falling away from the bones. After 3 hours, it should look something like this when it's ready. The flavors of all the produce has penetrated the meat, adding great flavors inside. I know it doesn't look that pretty right now, but we are going to make this fantastic. The meat wants to fall right away from the bone, but for now, take the hocks and wrap them in foil and let it sit on the counter while you make the sauce. They need time to cool enough to handle anyways, and letting it sit will allow the meat to relax, which is a necessary thing. Using the finest strainer you have, carefully pour the liquid through it. That liquid will be the base for the sauce. Use a ladle or something that will work and smash the cooked produce to get all the rest of the juice out of them. These veggies have given up all their flavor into the stock, so just discard them after doing this. That's why I say use random leftovers for the stock. So take your super flavor-packed stock and pour it into a pan on the stove. We are going to reduce this. Bring it to a strong simmer and just let it go. You could keep adding more of the liquid as the volume gets reduced, and if you have the time, reduce the entire amount for maximum flavor. I do recommend leaving a cup or so of the stock on the side in case you need to thin your sauce back out at the end. I ended up using about half the stock for this. You will see the color darken as it reduces more and the flavors become more concentrated. When it looks like this, almost at a syrup consistency, turn the heat to very low because it's time to add the rest of the ingredients, starting with a touch of sesame oil. Don't add too much of this. You can always add more later if you need. Then we add our salt content by means of soy sauce. Do add a decent amount of this. I added maybe a quarter cup or so. Then we add a flavor punch with some oyster sauce. if it will ever come out of the jar. Don't overdo it with this. I added about 2 tablespoons here. This will dominate the flavor if you add too much, so be cautious. Stir that in really well. Then we brighten it up with a decent amount of sweet chili sauce. Sometimes I like to strain the seeds out of this sauce, and sometimes, like today, I just pour it in as is. The choice is always yours. I know that looks like a lot, but what was already in the pan is very pungent, and it needs this sweet balance of brightness added to it.
Time to add some caramelization. I added maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. This also helps thicken the sauce. At some point during your sauce making, you will want to have returned to your hocks and remove the bones from them. It should come right out nicely like this. If you have to fight the thing to remove the bone, then you didn't cook it quite as long as you should have. But if that's the case, don't worry. It's still cooked enough to eat, and you will learn for next time. Anyways, you should be left with little rings of meat and skin. I know it looks weird right now. Just cut them into large chunks. Don't go knife crazy here. You want them in big chunks. It wants to fall apart on you, so tell yourself this isn't pulled pork. Having let them sit on the counter for a while will help them stay together. Now is when you add your meat to the sauce. Turn the heat up on your sauce to bring it back to a simmer. Try not to use utensils to stir this. You don't want to break up all your hard work and have shredded pork. Be gentle here and take your time. You cannot rush this part. I do carefully turn them using tongs, but taking the time to carefully turn each one individually. I'm not being aggressive at all here or mixing it in any way. As the pork gets more and more glazed, and as the sauce continues to thicken, you will need to lower the heat more and more on your burner. It might seem like you are cooking the pork for too long in the sauce, but as long as you're not burning it, it will be fine. They are extremely tender and can handle a long pan finish. When they are looking beautiful like this, I like to take it up a step by adding some whole roasted cashews. Peanuts will work great for this too. I like a lot of cashews in mine. Now is when you can gently toss them in the pan. If the sauce is thin and seems like it's going to splash everywhere on you, then it's not reduced enough. So wait until you think you can toss them in the pan before adding the cashews in. Now how beautiful does that look? This is absolutely amazing stuff, I promise. This is the consistency you are looking for. At this point, just turn the heat off and walk away from the pan for about 5 minutes. Let it settle down only because it's molten lava at this point and you will blister your mouth up if you don't walk away for a short bit. I have much experience in that. To plate this, I highly recommend jasmine rice. You can use thick noodles if you want and toss it up in them, and that's a great way too, but this is my favorite way to have them. Spoon some of that amazing sweet and spicy sauce with the cashews over it. I like to add some steamed broccoli to the party. And a little sprinkle of toasted sesame seeds. Lastly, some green onions. How amazing does that look?
All right, so here it is. Pork hocks, Asian style. Takes a long time to make, I know. It's worth it, trust me. You don't have to make the exact sauce I made, but this one's good. It really is. On that note, I know at the beginning I said you can use other things to make it. I have made this with pork belly before, a very similar sauce. If you check it out, it's episode number 3. It was one of my first videos that I made. I made pork belly in an Asian style sauce. Made a sauce very similar to this. Cooked it a very similar way. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But this is really good. Let's give it a try, shall we? Let's get a nice big piece here. Oh man. Those Thai chilies, they're really hot. They pack a punch. Very good punch though. With the cashews, yeah, let's lose these things. Let's get a little of the rice in there. Oh. That's what you want. This is what you want. And I know a lot of you, if you've never had ham hocks or pork hocks before, the same thing. The skin, the gelatinous skin, you might be a little weary of that. This is the way to have it. A super sticky, spicy sauce, a little sesame in there. It's definitely the way to go. Try this one out. I know it takes a while, but try it out. This will not fail you. This is good every time. I make this at least once every couple of months, continuously. Sometimes I use pork hocks, sometimes I use pork belly, sometimes I use ribs, sometimes I use country ribs, pork shoulder. It does not matter. Pork hocks is my favorite way to have it though, I promise you. And thank you so much to Redmond sponsoring the video. Again, if you guys want to get this, there will be a promo code where you can get a discount. You can get it on Amazon. It's not that expensive. So, I hope you guys liked the video. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of the dish. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you think I suck. But this is good shit. Hope you guys try it out. I really hope you guys try this one out. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year, and I will see you on the next video.